So hey guys, and welcome back to Kelly TV. Let me just say that season 6 of PLL is like freaking fabulous to me. I mean, we're actually learning things. Okay, so we may not have all the pieces of the puzzle yet, but it is the summer of answers, and I feel like we are getting some answers, so I mean, that makes me happy. So let's just get right on into this week's episode. So Allie finally learns that Charles is her brother, and she lets the liars in on her family's big secret. Apparently Charles was born with some super mental issues, which Avi, because Charles/A is crazy, and he was sent to Radley when Allie was 1. So Mr. D told Jason and Allie that like he wanted to let them know that they had this other brother, but he wanted to let them know when they were older, but I'm kind of like, aren't they old enough now to like learn this info without finding out on their own? But whatevs. He says Charles is definitely not A though, because Charles is dead. Now, I don't believe this at all. You let me know down in the comments below if you think Charles is dead or alive. So the story is that Charles took pills and overdosed when he was 16, committed suicide, and that Mrs. D had him cremated. And Allie is sure her dad is telling the truth, but like I'm just totally not buying this. Either he knows he's alive and he's lying to Allie and Jason, or he was told by Mrs. D that Charles was dead and he just totally believes that. So Caleb actually has a huge part in this episode. Like he's a very loving, perfect boyfriend, but then he turns into like a super paranoid, overly protective boyfriend, and we'll talk about that just a little bit later. So Arya searches for proof of Charles's death online, but conveniently there is no proof because guys, he's totally not dead. Byron makes a rare appearance after we hadn't seen him in like what, a year or something, and he wants Arya to go see a therapist, but she's like, nah. Spencer starts having some crazy flashbacks from her time in the dollhouse, and she was actually covered in blood in a lot of these flashbacks. I'm kind of thinking that Charles was tricking her and that wasn't really anyone's blood. It was like animal blood or fake blood. That's what I think. So the liars plan to track down Charles's Radley file at a data center. They just hope that it hasn't been like destroyed yet. Conveniently, Mr. D tells Allie that there was no funeral for Charles and that Mrs. D had him cremated. And he says it was a relief that Charles died, which is, wow, so harsh, Mr. D, so harsh. The girls actually are able to locate Charles's file, and there's no mention of his death, which is not shocking at all. But there is a mention of some people who visited him. 2 people, actually, his mom and a great Aunt Carol, but sadly, Great Aunt Carol has been dead for a couple of years. So Caleb actually followed the girls to that warehouse, and he totally freaks on Hannah because she didn't tell him where she was going. But the real creepy part here is that he put a tracking device on Hannah's car, and that's going to be important a little bit later in the episode. And I think that's when you cross the line of being like a really nice, supportive boyfriend to like being a creepy, overprotective, A-ish boyfriend. That's just my opinion. So Spencer is really trying to get her hands on some medication because she's freaking out again, and she's actually trying to get some pot brownies to deal with her anxiety because she's kind of going off the deep end. Sarah runs away from Emily's house. She has a habit of running away, and I'm kind of like, please don't follow her because I don't care about her, which is actually what Hannah was like saying in this episode. Like, she doesn't even know the girl. But like, do you think this is Bethany or what? Because they've dropped the Bethany storyline, and a lot of you think it's Bethany. So if you do, tell me why down below. Jason tells Allie that he tried to go stay with his mom, you know, after that elevator incident, but she acted like all weird and wouldn't let him stay at the house. And then he heard some noises coming from the house, and he was like, okay, I think someone was staying there. And he's like telling Allie, and they are like, oh my gosh, that was Charles. Now this is where I get like super concerned, because if Charles was indeed staying with Mrs. D, then it makes me think it's not someone who we know, because like the obvious suspects, Ren and Ezra and maybe Lucas, like they all have homes, and why would they need to hide out? Because we all know who they are, and if they had kind of changed identities, they would need to hide out, right? So like I'm thinking Charles may be someone who we don't know, which freaks me out, but maybe there's an Uber A and he's not Uber A, so we shouldn't worry. But I don't know, do you follow this? If you do, like, put your ideas down below, because that really concerns me. So yet again, we have more scenes with Arya and a camera, and she's developing some pictures in a dark room, and she sees that she's been taking pictures of this creepy baby doll. She doesn't even remember that, so that has me very concerned. Either she's being set up by A to make her think she's crazy, or she actually does have multiple personality disorders. I don't know. So then we meet yet another new character. This guy's name is Clark. Please don't get me started on new characters because I am totally over them. I don't know if this guy has a point or what, but usually on this show, new characters show up and they're gone within a few episodes, and we don't know why they're there. So who knows? Anyway, so I just feel like something is up with Arya. I feel like she may be on the A team. If you watch some of my previous videos, like my Ezra is A video, then that will explain to you why I think she's working with Ezra and is working for the A team. But, I mean, she finds a note that talks about that she's the doll of A, basically, and I don't know if she actually is seeing that and that's actually there, or if she's hallucinating or what, because let's just be honest, she has been really crazy in this episode and kind of mental, and I don't know, not episode, but whole season, you know, episode and season, so I don't know what's up with her. So, yeah. So Jason and the girls find Charles's grave, but we don't really know if anyone's buried there. Probably not is what I'm thinking, but when Hannah suggests that it's fake and they should like dig it up, Allie totally freaks, and this has me concerned because she seems to really want to protect a brother who tried to drown her. Have I told you that he tried to drown her yet? I don't think I have, because her dad said that Charles tried to drown her in the bathtub when she was just a baby, so like why is this girl sticking up for her family? I mean, that's just weird. Spencer thinks that Charles is actually dead, and this is not a bad theory, that the real A is someone pretending to be Charles, like maybe he met him at Radley, him or her at Radley, and they're like, you know, they know that he was sent there as a kid and they feel bad for him and now they're trying to get back at people, so, you know, I don't know. But it turns out that Arya has a lot of pictures of creepy dolls and she doesn't remember taking any of them, and that just freaks me out, and it points, to, in my opinion, points to her being on the A team. So then the very end of this episode, I feel like, is the most creepy because we find out that apparently while the girls were in the dollhouse, Charles has like injected them with some sort of tracking device, and he knows exactly where everyone is all the time. And I'm getting Caleb vibes here because Caleb put a tracking device on Hannah's car. Now maybe this show's trying to make Caleb look bad, but lately I've really been thinking he's a suspect because he has this shady past. He really doesn't have a family. Charles doesn't have a family either because they gave him up. What do you think about Caleb being A? Put your comments down below. So if you guys didn't know, I host a live PLL web show every Wednesday right here on my channel. It's at 6 p.m. Eastern. It is so much fun because you can interact with me live and we talk about, you know, the current episode and the entire season and the entire show and who could be on the A team. And it's just like so much fun. So that link is down below. Also, please follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. All those links are down below. It's a great way to find out when a new video is coming out, when a chat is going to be, what's going on with my life, what did I have for lunch, you know, stuff like that, the important stuff. So thanks so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV, and I'll see you next time.
I can feel my face when